Hi guys, today we're going to talk about grouting, a very important part of the job. If you've not done correctly, it can cause the job to fail and it can ruin the aesthetics of a job. So your tiling could be really good and then the grouting could look poor, which isn't good, guys. The first thing you need to do is select the correct grout for the job. There's lots of different grouts. There's grouts that are designed for just dry areas, and there's grouts that are designed for wide joints. So say you were doing like a 10mm joint, you'd have to select a specific grout for that. There's grouts that are suitable for wet areas such as this, so that they won't wear away over time, they won't degrade coming into contact with water. So make sure that you select the correct grout for the job, and you can do that using your technical guides. Okay. The next thing we're going to talk about is the tools. So the tools that you need for grouting, you need a grout sponge. Okay. I tend to use a brand new grout sponge for every job. And a tiler's grout sponge has got silicas in it, so it keeps it nice and springy. A bucket of fresh cold water, an emulsifying pad. This is a soft scouring pad that is going to allow you to get the grout off difficult textured tiles. So there'll be times when you're struggling to get the grout off with your sponge. You get your emulsifying pad, dip it in the water, and it'll come off no problem. So make sure you've always got them in your kit. A bucket trowel for mixing the grout, a mixing bucket, a profiler. Okay, if your tiling jobs are good and you haven't got lippage, then these are worth using. If you've got a little bit of lippage, maybe not bother. Okay, and we've got a measuring jug for tipping the water into the bucket. And last but not least, a grout float for pushing the grout into the joints. And we're ready to go. So let's have a look what we're using today then. Today we're using BAL Micro Max 2, and if you read the front of the bag, it says superior smooth finish, effervescence free formulation sets in 2 to 3 hours, easy application and clean off, highly flexible and crack resistant, highly durable, suitable for areas of high traffic, suitable for power showers and wet rooms, which is what we're doing today, guys. So we've cleaned all the walls down, guys. It's very important that all the walls are immaculate. So make sure you spend a good bit of time making sure that all your joints are clean. And remember, it pays to work clean because it saves all the tidy up at the end. Right guys, so mixing the grout itself, we want to make it into a nice workable consistency. One thing I'll talk about is when you're mixing grout, make sure you mix enough grout to do one wall at a time, or at least 2 walls at a time. What I mean by that is you do not want to be doing 1.5 walls and then having to mix in your mix up, because if there's a difference in consistency, then that can appear in the colour of the grout. So it could be lighter on one area and darker on another. So always use the same mix for one whole wall. And then if you're running out of grout, you can just add to it and then go on to the second wall, making sure you've got enough to complete that wall. Okay, so let's get cracking then. I'm gonna just put the grout open. Always pour your water into the mixing bucket first. And remember guys, a little bit of water goes a long way. Now when we're grouting a room, you want to have a plan. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean that you have to know where you're going to start and where you're going to finish. You can't just start in the middle and just start splodging it on, because you will miss loads of lines, okay? So I'm going to start at the top left hand corner and work top left to right, left to right, left to right, all the way down to the bottom. Alright, let's get cracking. You see what we're doing here, guys? We're pushing it deep into the joint and off at a 45-degree angle. Deep into the joint, off at a 45-degree angle. Okay, so here we go. Any awkward areas, you can just put them on the front and then catch where you need to go. Okay, right, go. Also guys, we're not trying to force it into our stress gap, okay? See where we've created a stress gap for the silicone to go. You don't want to shove your grout into there. So just leave that clear. Alright guys, so it ain't a TTS video unless we forget to knock the sound on at some point. So what I'm explaining here then is just once again how to push the adhesive deep into the joint and take it off a 45-degree angle. Now when you wipe the tiles down, what we do is what's called a touch test, and that's what I'm doing here. You simply touch the grout joint. If it sticks to the finger, then you do not touch it with a sponge at that point. What you're looking for, guys, is so that you can touch the grout and it doesn't stick to your finger. Now this doesn't mean leaving it on the tiles for 24 hours. You've got to keep an eye on it. So how long does it take? Well, it really depends on a number of factors, such as what type of grout you're using. Some grouts go off very quickly. Things such as the temperature of the room. You know, if you're working in a home and the temperatures are quite high, then the grout's going to dry quicker. Even the type of tile, so if you're grouting onto porcelain tiles, then they tend to take longer to dry. If it's like porcelain tiles onto a backerboard system, for example, you can be waiting up to like 40 minutes sometimes. So it really depends, but you just got to keep an eye on it, guys. Alright guys, so we're ready to start wiping this wall now. We can touch the joints and it's not sticking to the finger, so we're ready to give it a wipe. Okay, first things first, get your sponge in the water. And you're getting quite a lot of the water out. You don't want a soppy sponge, you don't want the sponge being soaking wet, okay? And then all we're going to do is go in circular motions. Just taking off the excess. Okay, turn the sponge over and continue. Okay, once we've done that, we can start tidying up some of the grout joints. So just 1, 2 over the lines, and that way guys you get perfect grout joints. It's all about timings, it's catching it at the right time. Okay. So there we go guys, all finished. The last thing that you'd have to do now is give it a polish, which I usually do the next day. Leave it 24 hours, then it's ready for siliconing, and that's all there is to it guys. enjoyed the demo. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and let us know what you would like to see in the comments below. Cheers guys.